I never thought pulling a gun on a man in a crowded rooftop bar could feel like justice. But there I was, the cold steel pressing into my palm like an old friend's handshake. The city's skyline mocking me from every glass window. Raylan's whisper in my ear, "Do it, Alex." For both of us, was the spark that lit the fuse. Her breath hot against my neck like a lover's promise or a Judas kiss. I couldn't tell which anymore. And as the ex's eyes locked onto mine, that smug grin splitting his face like he owned the night, I squeezed the trigger on everything I'd lost, my freedom, my brother, my goddamn soul. It started innocently enough. Or, at least that's what I told myself later. When the whiskey burned less, and the regrets piled up like unpaid bills in my one-bedroom walk-up on the South Side. Chicago in late summer is a beast, humid air thick as regret. The lake wind carrying whispers of bad decisions from the high-rises downtown. I was nursing a flat IPA at a dive called the Rusty Anchor. The kind of joint where the jukebox plays Springsteen on loop and the bartender knows your tab by heart without asking. I'd just gotten off a double shift hauling freight at the docks, my back screaming like it had its own zip code, when she slid onto the stool next to me. She was the type that turns heads without trying, long auburn hair cascading like she'd stepped out of a Scorsese flick, green eyes sharp enough to cut glass, and a smile that said trouble in 10 different fonts. Raylan. She said her name was like it was a secret worth keeping. Ordered a neat bourbon. Neat, as in no bullshit. And eyed me like I was the last decent burger on the menu. "You look like a guy who could use a night off the grid," she said, her voice low and smoky, laced with that Midwestern drawl that makes vowels stretch like taffy. I chuckled, because what else do you do when a stranger sizes you up like she's reading your rap sheet? Mine was real enough. 2 years inside for a possession charge that wasn't mine. Courtesy of some crooked badge who decided I was collateral in his side hustle. Out on parole now. Scraping by. The kind of life where trust is a 4-letter word you don't say out loud. "I'm Alex," I muttered, clinking my glass to hers. "And off the grid sounds like a warrant waiting to happen." She laughed, a sound like wind chimes in a storm, and leaned in. "That's the point. Look, I need a favor. A big one. Fake boyfriend gig. One night. High pay. No strings, well, mostly no strings." I raised an eyebrow, the IPA turning sour in my gut. Fake boyfriend? In Chicago? This wasn't some rom-com bullshit. This was the city that chews up suckers and spits out husks. But she slid a crisp 100 across the bar, her nails painted red like warning flags. "There's a party tomorrow at this swanky spot in the Loop. My ex, Victor, he'll be there. Thinks he owns the night. The women. The whole damn skyline. I need you to play the part. Hold my hand, glare at him, maybe whisper something filthy in my ear. Make him believe you're the real deal. Victor." The name hit me like a sucker punch from the shadows. I hadn't heard it in years. Not since the trial. Not since the gavel cracked down on my future like a bad joke. Victor Hale, Detective Sergeant, the golden boy of the CPD's narcotics unit. The man who'd planted the baggies in my brother's car, pinned it on me when my little bro, Tommy, panicked and bolted. Tommy, barely 20, fresh out of high school, mixed up in some dumb kid shit with the wrong crew. I took the fall to keep him clean, swore to Mom on her deathbed I'd protect him. Victor's testimony sealed it. Eyes on the scene, clear as day. Bullshit. He'd covered for his own dirty deals, skimming product from busts, fencing it through ghost buyers. I knew it then, seethed it in a 6x8 cell. But proof? That was a ghost. Raylan's eyes searched mine, oblivious. He's dangerous. Alex. Stalked me for months after we split. Shows up at my work. My gym. I need him to back off. See, I moved on. I should have walked. Pocketed the 100 and vanished into the L train rumble. But there she was, all fire and fragility. And damn if it didn't stir something feral in me, the itch for payback that had been festering since the bars slammed shut. What's in it for me besides the cash? I asked, voice steady as a junkie's hand. Her smile faltered. Just a flicker. Closure. For both of us. I took the gig. What the hell, parole had me leashed anyway. And Victor Hale owed me a lifetime of sunrises I never saw. The party was at the Apex, one of those rooftop penthouses where the elite pretend Chicago's grit doesn't exist below the clouds. Valet parked my beat-up Ford like it was a Ferrari, and Raylan hooked her arm in mine as we stepped into the elevator. Her perfume something spicy, like cinnamon and sin, wrapping around me like a noose. She looked killer in a black sheath dress that hugged her curves like a guilty verdict, diamonds glinting at her throat like they knew secrets. Remember, she murmured as the doors dinged open, the thump of bass hitting us like a heartbeat. You're the jealous type. Touchy-feely. And if he pushes, you push back. The crowd was a who's who of suits and socialites, hedge fund bros with Rolexes that screamed compensating, influencers snapping selfies against a glittering lake view. The air thick with cologne and ambition. Waiters in crisp whites wove through like sharks. Trays of champagne flutes bubbling like bad ideas. Raylan steered me toward the bar, her hand possessive on my elbow. And that's when I spotted him. Victor Hale. Taller than I remembered. Broader. With that salt and pepper hair slicked back like he was auditioning for a mobster remake. He was holding court near the edge, a tumbler of scotch in one meaty fist, laughing with a cluster of admirers, mostly women in red lips and low necks, hanging on his every word like he was Jesus with a badge. His eyes, though cold gray, like Lake Michigan on a bad day, swept the room and locked on Raylan. On us. She tensed, nails digging into my arm. There. Act natural. Natural. Right. I pulled her close, my hand sliding to the small of her back, feeling the heat of her skin through the fabric. Hey, babe, I said loud enough for the echoes, planting a kiss on her temple that lingered a beat too long. Her shiver could have been acting or something real. I didn't care. Victor's grin didn't reach his eyes as he sauntered over, parting the crowd like Moses with a warrant. Raylan. Didn't expect to see you here. And with company. His gaze raked me, dismissive, like I was lint on his Armani jacket. Victor, she said, voice cool as the wind off the water. Alex and I were just talking about you. How small the world is. He chuckled, low and mean. Small? Or just full of coincidences? He extended a hand, meaty and scarred from God knows what back alley busts. Victor Hale. Raylan's. Old flame. I took it, squeezing hard enough to feel the bones grind. Alex Rivera. Her current everything. The name drop was deliberate. Rivera. The kid from the trial. The ghost he'd buried. His eyes flickered. Just a microsecond. Recognition dawning like a slow fuse. Rivera, he echoed, releasing my hand like it burned. Heard that before. You the doc rat. Raylan shot me a look, play nice, but the rage was a live wire in my veins. Yeah. the one who did his time. Thanks to assholes like you. The air crackled. His cronies shifted, uncomfortable, but Victor just smiled wider, teeth flashing white against the city glow. Time serves a purpose.
Kid.
Keeps the streets clean. He leaned in, voice dropping. But you out early. Good behavior. Something like that. My fingers itched for something sharper than words, but Raylan tugged me away, her laugh forced and brittle. Dance with me?
Babe.
Show him how it's done. We hit the floor as the DJ dropped into some sultry R&B track, bodies pressing close in the humid night. Her head on my shoulder. She whispered, "What was that?" "You know him. More than I should," I growled, spinning her out and back in, my hand firm on her waist. "He's the reason I'm breathing free air on borrowed time." She pulled back, eyes wide. "Victor, your cop, the one and only. Framed me for his own dirt. My brother.
Tommy.
He was supposed to take the heat, but I covered." Victor twisted it all. Her face paled under the strobes. "Jesus, Alex. I had no idea. He told me you were just some lowlife dealer." Lies are his love language. We swayed, the music a pulse matching my hammering heart. Victor watched from the bar, nursing his drink, his stare a laser sight. As the night wore on, the pretense frayed. Raylan stuck close, her touches lingering, fingers tracing my collar, lips brushing my ear with nonsense endearments. It was working. Victor's jaw clenched every time he glanced our way, his posse thinning as he brooded. But then she slipped away to the ladies' room, and he cornered me at the railing. The city sprawl a dizzying drop below. "You think you're slick, Rivera? Parading around with my girl like some rented tux." His breath reeked of scotch and entitlement, face inches from mine. "Your girl?" I laughed. Bitter. She upgraded.
And yeah,
"I remember you. Courtroom star. How's that pension treating you, now that you're fencing H off the books?" His eyes narrowed to slits. "Careful.
Kid."
Words like that get you back inside. Permanently. Try it." I got nothing left to lose. The lie tasted like ash. Tommy's ghost haunted my dreams. Mom's grave fresh enough to sting. Victor had taken them both, indirect as it was. He straightened,
Smirking.
"Raylan's playing you. Knows exactly who you are. Hired muscle with a grudge. Cute." Doubt slithered in,
Cold and coiling.
but before I could press, she was back, sliding between us like a shield. "Everything good?"
Boys.
"Peachy," Victor drawled, backing off with a mock salute. "Enjoy the view. It's all downhill from here." The rest of the night blurred. More drinks. Forced laughs. Her body heat the only anchor. But his words gnawed. When we finally bailed, piling into my Ford as the valet smirked, Raylan's hand found my thigh, high and insistent. "You were perfect." "Thank you." I started the engine, the rumble drowning my questions. "He say anything?" "Just jealous bullshit." She leaned over, kissing my cheek, soft and lingering. "Stay at my place tonight?" Safety in numbers. Against every screaming instinct, I nodded. Her apartment was in Wicker Park, loft style. Exposed brick and fairy lights. The kind of place that smelled like vanilla candles and unspoken histories. We tumbled through the door, the fake melting into something raw, her dress pooling on the floor. My shirt yanked off in a frenzy of need and numbness. It wasn't love, it was collision. Two wrecks fusing to forget the debris. After, tangled in sheets that smelled like her. She traced the tattoo on my chest, Tommy's initials, inked in the joint. Tell me about him. So I did. The words spilling like contraband. The bust. The plea. Victor's smug face on the stand. How Tommy spiraled after. Drunk driving into a semi on I-94. Gone at 23. He couldn't live with the guilt. Thought he owed me. Raylan's eyes glistened, but she held me tighter. Victor's poison. I left him because I saw it, the bribes, the threats. He owns people. Alex. Breaks them. Then why fake it? Why not run? Her laugh was hollow. Running's for cowards. I want him done. Sleep came fitful. Dreams of bars and badges. Morning brought coffee black as my mood, and her watching me over the rim of her mug. We need a plan. Real one. Expose him. I nodded, but the seed of doubt sprouted thorns. Victor's warning echoed. She's playing you. By noon, we were deep in it, me digging through old case files on a burner laptop, her spilling dirt from their year together. Victor's side hustle was bigger than I'd imagined, a network of dirty cops and cartel connects, laundering cash through fake busts. Raylan had proof, photos, ledgers she'd swiped when he was passed out. He thinks I burned them. But I kept copies. We holed up for days. The loft turning bunker, pizza boxes stacking like evidence, blinds drawn against the prying sun. Tension built like thunderheads, our touches turning electric, arguments sparking over risks. You're in too deep, she'd say, but her eyes begged me to stay. One night, rain lashing the windows like accusations, she cracked. I knew about you, Alex. Before the bar. Victor bragged, bagged a spit kid to cover my ass. I hated him for it, but I was scared. He owns the city. Betrayal hit like a freight train, but twisted, her confession was olive branch and dagger. Why me? Then, to fix it. To burn him with you. I wanted to bolt, but the fire in her matched mine. We plotted the hit. Crash's poker game in a River North warehouse. The ledgers in hand. A wire for backup. Controversial? Hell yeah, vigilante justice in a city that chews heroes. But Victor had flipped the script on my life. Time to rewrite his ending. The warehouse loomed under sodium lights. Rain turning the lot to a black mirror. We slipped in the side door. Hearts pounding syncopated rhythms. Smoke hung thick. Laughter booming from the back room. Cops off duty. Marking cards and territory. Victor held the table's throne. Chips piled like fallen empires. His laugh a bark. Raylan went first, sauntering in like she owned the joint, me shadowing as her +1. Eyes turned, murmurs rippling. Ray? The fuck? Miss me? Vic. She dropped the envelope on the felt, photos spilling, ledgers thumping like guillotines. Game over. Chaos erupted. Chairs scraped, hands twitching toward holsters, but I stepped up. Voice steel. Rivera. Remember me? Time to pay the tab. His face drained, then flushed rage red. You little shit. This is entrapment. No badges here. Detective. Just truth. Raylan's wire hummed in my ear, feeding to a hacker buddy outside, live streaming to every news van in the loop. He lunged, but I was faster, old prison reflexes shoving him back. the table flipping in a cascade of green felt and scattered bills. Fists flew, bodies piling on, but it was him and me in the eye, trading blows like settling scores. His knuckles split my lip, copper blooming, but I landed one to his gut, folding him. "Tommy sends his regards," I snarled, knee to his ribs. Raylan screamed something, warning, as his boy circled. Then the twist. She grabbed my arm, not to pull me back, but to yank a pistol from Victor's shoulder rig. The room froze, breaths ragged. "Raylan," my voice cracked, the betrayal fresh wounded. Victor's laugh bubbled, blood-flecked. "Told you."
Kid.
"She's mine." She leveled it at him.
Steady.
"Not anymore." But her eyes flicked to me guilt, love, calculation. Sirens wailed distant, closing fast. The wire was gold. We'd win the war. But in that heartbeat, Victor lunged again, and the shot cracked hers into the ceiling, plaster raining like confetti. He tackled her, the gun skittering, and I dove, wrestling it free. The standoff, me with the piece on Victor, him shielding with Raylan's body half under him, her gasping, eyes locked on mine. Rain hammered the tin roof like judgment. "Shoot,
Alex."
end it." But his cops burst in, badges flashing betrayal. In the melee, Victor twisted free, snarling, "She's the plant. Rivera fed me the dirt to draw you out. IA's been gunning for me. Using her. Lies. Truth." Her face crumpled, tears carving tracks. "He forced me, years ago. The testimony against you. To save my skin. The secret buried deep. She'd been the ghost witness." Voice modulated in court, sealing my fate for Victor's protection racket. Redeemed now. Or double agent. I hesitated, the trigger slick under my thumb. Readers would split here, avenge the brother, damn the fallout, or mercy for the woman who'd cracked my walls. The barrel stared back. Empty promise. I lowered it. Cops swarming. Victor cuffed amid howls of protest. Raylan reached for me, but I stepped back, the rain washing clean as they dragged him out. Epilogue twist. Months later. Trial headlines screamed, "Crooked cop empire crumbles." Victor rotted in Supermax. But Raylan vanished. Witness protection. Or deeper shadows. A letter arrived. Her script. "I took the fall for him once. Won't for you." Forgive?
R.
Debate fodder. Was she villain or victim? My revenge, justice, or just another cage? Chicago shrugged. Wind off the lake, carrying the answer away.
Me?
I walked the docks. Free but fractured. Wondering if the hook ever lets go. The aftermath hit like a hangover from hell. Head pounding. Mouth dry. The kind where you replay every frame wondering if you'd rewrite the script. Victor's empire crumbled in slow motion. Headlines cycling on every local feed. CPD corruption scandal rocks City Hall. Pundits on WGN dissected it like Sunday roast. Fingers pointing at the brass. The unions. The ghosts in the machine.
Me?
I was the anonymous tipster. The shadow source who flipped the table. Raylan's wire had captured it all. Victor's snarls. The ledger's damning ink. Even my growl, "Tommy sends his regards," echoing like a mic drop from the grave. But freedom tasted like cardboard. Parole board called me in for a routine check, their eyes boring holes. Fishing for dirt on how a doc grunt like me scored the scoop of the century. Lucky break. I lied, flashing a smile that didn't reach my eyes. They bought it. or pretended to slap my wrist with community service. But the leash loosened. No more midnight curfews. No more snitching for scraps. Raylan's absence gnawed deepest. The loft stood empty when I swung by. Key sheet slipped me under the mat like a suicide note. Fairy lights dark. Vanilla scent faded to dust. Her closet bare. Drawers rifled by feds or foes. I couldn't tell. The letter sat on my nightstand, creased from rereads. I took the fall for him once. Won't for you. Forgive? Forgive what? The courtroom lie that locked me away? The fake boyfriend ploy that dragged me into her web? Or the nights we tangled? Her moans, mixing mercy and manipulation? I drove to Tommy's grave up in Rose Hill Cemetery. The one with the lake view he would have hated, too fancy for a kid who dreamed of ballparks and beers. Gravestone mossed over. Etched beloved son. Brother unbroken. Unbroken my ass. I cracked a PBR. Poured half on the dirt. She knew.
Tom.
All along. Used me like bait. Wind rustled the oaks. Sounding like his laugh. Easy. Forgiving. But ghosts don't absolve, they accuse. Back home. The bottle called louder. Nights blurred into benders. Hauling crates by day. Haunting bars by night. The rusty anchor became confession booth. Spilling to strangers about the cop who stole my 20s. The woman who stole my grudge. Then the calls started. Burner numbers. Voicemails in Victor's gravel. Rivera? You think it's over? She's the snake.
Kid.
Come see. Blocked but sleep fractured. Dreams of her green eyes turning serpent slit. The gun in my hand heavy with what-ifs. A month in, the feds knocked, suits from the Public Corruption Unit. Badges polished. Smiles rehearsed. Agent Kessler. A wiry guy with a mustache like a 70s cop show reject, slid into my booth at a greasy spoon diner. Styrofoam coffee steaming between us. Mr. Rivera, we appreciate your contribution. Victor singing like Sinatra. Names. Dates. The works. But there's a loose end. Raylan Tate. I stirred sugar I didn't need. Granules swirling like secrets. Loose how? Disappeared post-raid. We had her in protective, but poof. Victor claims she double-dipped, fed us crumbs to cover her own tracks. Embezzlement from his slush fund. Maybe worse. Worse. The word hung. Acrid. She's a victim.
2.
Stalked. Coerced. Kessler's eyes hardened, mustache twitching. Victims don't vanish with $50K in crypto. We need her for trial. You were close. Any ideas?
Close.
Yeah. We'd been that skin to skin. Breath synced. Her whispers promising redemption.
But now?
Haven't heard. Try her yoga studio in Bucktown. He slid a card. Cream stock with gold emboss. If she surfaces.
Call.
Heroes welcome.
Hero.
The joke burned. I crumpled it, tossed it in the coffee, watched it sink like my illusions. That night, the trap snapped. I was blocks from home, cutting through an alley off Halstead, shortcuts born of habit, when the van screeched up, black and unmarked.
Doorslid.
Arms yanked me in, hood over my head smelling of oil and old fear. Zip ties bit wrists. A knee in my back. Easy. Rivera. Boss wants a word. Victor's crew, remnants. Loyalists who dodged the sweep. The drive twisted through the city. Horns blaring distant. Until we stopped in some industrial ghost town on the outskirts. The Calumet River stinks seeping through the cloth. They dragged me inside, a cavernous shell of a factory. Echoes bouncing off rusted beams, puddles from leaks gleaming like spilled mercury. Hood yanked. And there he was, Victor, cuffed to a chair but not broken, flanked by two goons in windbreakers, faces scarred like bad tattoos. No badge, just venom. Miss me?
Kid.
He grinned, teeth chipped from our rooftop tussle. Rotting already?
I spat,
Struggling against the ties. Goons chuckled, low and mean. He leaned forward, chains rattling. Not yet. But you parade around like some avenging angel, tipping feds my secrets. Raylan's secrets. He nodded to a side door, and they hauled it open. Her. Bound to a pipe, dress torn at the shoulder, lips split but eyes defiant. Alex, she breathed, voice cracking like thin ice. You bitch. The words escaped before reason, raw as the betrayal twisting my gut. Victor's laugh boomed.
Told you.
She's the flipper, fed me dirt on you back then.
To keep her hooks in.
Testified Anonymous. Remember? Sweet little Ray. Voice disguised. Burying you for a cut of the action. She shook her head. Hair matted. Lies. He threatened my family, mom in the nursing home. Debts piling. I did it to survive. Survive. I roared. Lunging futile. Goons pinning me. You used me. The fake date. The raid. It was all to draw him out. Pin it on both of us. Victor's eyes gleamed. Sharksick. Smart boy. But here's the rub. She's got the real ledger. The master list. Names up to the mayor. Stole it when she bolted. Give it up.
Ray.
And I let Loverboy walk. Her gaze met mine. Fractured diamond.
Don't. It's hidden.
Burn it all.
Alex.
End this. Controversy coiled tight. The decision mine now. Sides blurring. Trust her. Torch the evidence. Let Victor slither free to rebuild? Or squeeze her for the drop? Damn the innocent she dragged down? Readers would rage. Is loyalty to the dead brother worth allying with the devil's ex? Or was she the true betrayed? A pawn in patriarchal power plays? The goons shifted. Impatient. Rain drummed the roof. A dirge. Victor nodded. And one drew a silenced piece. Matte black promise. Tick-tock. Rivera. Choose. I headbutt the holder. Stars exploding. Tasting blood. Chaos bloomed, fists. Grunts. Me twisting free enough to stomp a boot on Victor's instep. His howl music. Raylan strained. Pipe groaning. Behind you, the knife. I spun. Snatching it from a crate. Rusty box gutter. But sharp enough. Slashed ties. Dove for her. Sawing frantic. Victor bellowed orders. But the goons hesitated, loyalty fraying in the face of fed heat. Free. She grabbed the gun from the floored thug, turning it on Victor. Your game's up, he sneered, unbowed. Shoot. And you're no better. The list implicates you, falsified docs. Your signature. Her hand trembled.
The barrel dancing.
Alex. The alley standoff flashed rain. Neon.
Choice.
I took the gun gentle. Her fingers yielding warm. We end it clean. Sirens again. Closer. My hacker buddies alert? Or dumb luck? Victor's eyes widened. The schemer cornered. Wait, deal. I flip full. Take the fall solo. You walk. Both of you. Flip again. The ultimate con. Controversial salvation. Accept the devil's bargain. Spare the city a deeper rot? Or pull the trigger? Vigilante verdict. Risk becoming the monster? Raylan's whisper. For Tommy. I squeezed, not fatal.
Knee shot.
His scream echoing as feds burst in. Floodlights cutting shadows. Cuffs clicked. Statements blurred. Victor carted off, howling bargains to the end. But the twist lingered. In holding, a guard slipped me a drive, tiny, encrypted. Her voice, recorded. Alex, if you're hearing this, I split the list. Half to feds, half burned. My cut? Gone to Tommy's memorial fund. Forgive the snake. She molts to survive.
R.
She'd vanished again.
Ghost in the machine.
Debate eternal. Redemption real. Or masterstroke manipulation. Chicago moved on. Scandals fading to footnotes.
Me?
I raised a glass to ghosts. The hook deeper. Wondering if revenge ever uncoils. Winter clamped Chicago like a vice. Winds off the lake slicing through coats. Snow piling drifts that buried bad memories under white lies. The trial was a circus. Victor Hale, once untouchable, paraded in orange jumpsuit, his flip turning state's evidence into a confessional torrent. Names dropped like spent shells, syndicate bosses, councilmen with mistresses and mortgages, even a judge who'd moonlighted as bookie. The courtroom reeked of stale coffee and schadenfreude. Reporters scribbling feverish. Cameras flashing judgment. I testified once, voice steady as I recounted the frame job. Tommy's ghost heavy on my tongue. He took my brother's life. Indirect. Guilt's a slow bullet. Jurors nodded. Eyes wet, Midwestern empathy. Thick as the fog rolling off the river. Victor glared from the dock. His flips exhausted, no more charm. Just a cornered rat baring teeth. Raylan never surfaced. Feds chased ghosts, aliases in witness safes. Sightings in Seattle dives or Miami condos. Kessler cornered me post-verdict. Rain sheeting his trench. She's key. Rivera. Without her, half the charges evaporate, then evaporate, I said, lighting a smoke against the wet. She burned her bridge. Let it smolder. He snorted, mustache drooping. Hero complex? Or sweet on the snake? Neither.
Both.
The drive she'd smuggled, decrypted now, held fragments, bank transfers to Mom's old nursing home. Anonymous scholarships in Tommy's name for at-risk kids on the South Side. Redemption ledger. Balanced in shadows. Forgive? Hell. I toasted it weekly. PBR foaming on the bar like absolution foam. But Victor's last play slithered in.
From Supermax.
A smuggle note. Ask Ray about the baby.
Kid.
Yours? Mine? TikTok. Scribbled on toilet paper. But the venom fresh. Baby. The word detonated. Shards embedding deep. Our nights raw. Reckless. Had I sensed it? A swell in her hips. A hesitation in her touch. Rage boiled. Chasing doubt. I stormed the feds. Demanding files. But Kessler stonewalled. Classified. Drop it.
Couldn't.
Hired a PI on doc pay, shady ex-cop named Gino. A face like weathered leather. Who dug for dirt in dumpsters and dark webs. Weeks later, he slid a manila envelope under my door. Ultrasound printout. Time-stamped months back. Addressed to Artie. Her initials. Notes scribbled. Termination scheduled. Complications from stress. Termination. My gut hollowed. Vision spotting. Complication? The raid. The alley, the chaos we'd courted. Victor's lie, or lethal truth, the twist that split souls, was the baby pawn in her exit strategy. Leverage for protection? Or innocent casualty of our revenge waltz? A life snuffed to sever chains? Gino's addendum. Trail goes cold in Vancouver. New name, Riley Tate. Teaching yoga to yuppies. Looks happy.
Happy.
The word mocked as I flew north. Greyhound rumbling through blizzards. Heart a blizzard of its own. Vancouver hit soft. Evergreens dusted white. Rain misting like tears unshed. Her studio perched on a hill. Mats unrolled in a sunlit room overlooking the sound. Class winding down as I slipped in. Hood up. Pulse thundering. She was at the front. Downward dog effortless. Voice guiding breaths. Inhale possibility. Exhale fear. Namaste echoed. Students rolling mats. And then, her eyes met mine in the mirror. Green freezing to jade. Class cleared awkward. Whispers trailing. Door clicked shut. And we stood. Space between vast as the Pacific. Alex, she breathed. No flight. Just fracture. You ran. Flat.
Accusatory.
The envelope slapped the desk, ultrasound fluttering free. Her face crumpled. Hand pressing belly instinctive. Empty now. How? Doesn't matter. Victor's parting gift. True. Tears welled. Unchecked.
Yes. Ours.
I found out after the warehouse. Terrified, his world. Your grudge. The baby caught in crossfire.
I
Chose.
chose.
The word hung. Guillotine. Controversial core. Abortion as armor. Shielding a child from cycles of violence? Or selfish severing? Prioritizing escape over legacy? Sides cleaved, feminists cheering autonomy. Traditionalists decrying discard.
Me?
Father unfathered. Rage and relief warring. Why not tell? I rasped, voice breaking.
Fear.
You'd chain yourself deeper, protect us, drag us into the light. I want it out.
Clean.
For it. For you. The lie? Truth? Her hand reached. Tentative. I didn't pull away. Victor's rotting. City's healing. Come back.
Testify.
We build something real. She laughed. Bittersweet. Real? With blood on our hands? I'm Riley now. Clean slate. The debate ignited reunite. Forge fractured family from ashes? Or let go? Honor her flight as final mercy? Rain pattered windows. Vancouver's gray mirroring Chicago's soul. I turned, door in hand. Forgive? Maybe. But the hook's mine now. She called after. Alex, love was real. Believe that. Outside. Snow fell soft. Burying tracks. Back home. The docks waited. Crates heavier but burdens lighter. Victor died in a shiv fight. Karma Schenk. Whispers said. Raylan/Riley faded to myth. The baby a ghost unborn. Sparking barroom brawls over choices unchosen. Ending? No tidy bow. Revenge's echo lingers, justice jagged. Love laced with loss. Chicago endures. Wind whispering, who's right? Who's wronged? Pull up a stool. The debate's just starting.